Well, hello again. I hope you are a returning viewer or listener to this podcast. And if you are brand new to it, I welcome you with my warm heart. So welcome to the Automated Millionaire. It's video podcast, or if you're listening to the audio, it's just a podcast. This is Mikael Pitzner. I'm also known as the Automated Millionaire, and it's also the name of my company and my brand. I help small and medium-sized businesses, and I help their business owners and their team make much more money out of their business, and at the same time creating a much more smoothly run operation. And I do so by implementation of special business system that I call the Automated Millionaire Business System. You can find more information about this and other on my website called theautomatedmillionaire.com. In this episode, we're going to continue our discussion points on the secrets of a top business turnaround agent. If you're a returning listener or viewer, you know that I have been a top business turnaround agent, meaning I've been a business consultant, went into businesses that were really struggling, and in matters of very short time, maybe just a few weeks or a few months, helped the business owner and the team turn this into a successful story again, making them more cash, more money, very fast. And I've done all of this using specialized knowledge and systems that I've developed with the help of colleagues and with the help of my mentors and with the help of the experience that I picked up over many years in business. We have in some of the other episodes discussed this idea about identifying these undesirable outcomes. We have discussed also the idea of quantifying them. So again, what is an undesirable outcome? Well, it's whenever we have things that are not working out well in our business. You know, maybe our production is shut down because our machine broke down again, 10th time this month or something. And those outcomes, they hinder our results in the business. They stop us, they cost us a lot of money. How much is it costing us? Well, that's when we went to one of the other secrets is that we really need to quantify it. We need to really calculate out how often does it happen, what's involved, what do we lose, what extra expense do we have to fix it again, get it up and running and so on. What could we have sold? What could we have produced? What did we lose out on as a result of this event happening? And we spoke about not making assumptions about, when we have an undesirable outcome, how big would that be? No, we don't want to make an assumption about how big it is. We want to just go through the motion and actually calculate it out. So now we can make a good call about, if it's a very big number, we probably want to get really, really solid on actually doing something about it. And we probably want to do that sooner rather than later. If we just make assumptions, sometimes we take something that sounds like it's a small problem that really could have been a big problem because we didn't calculate it out. We just don't know. We think it's a small problem, so we're not even taking care of it. I've seen this more times than not, and I've also, even in my process of helping businesses and so on, I have thought before I made the calculation that this is probably a small one, and then it turned out to be substantial. I've also thought sometimes this one is going to be big, and it turned out to be small. When we don't have time, or if we just want to have a bigger results fast, there isn't time to dilly-dally. So it's important that we go through the motions, do the exercise, find out how much it is, and the bigger the number, the bigger the scope that we can actually make more money very fast. In today's lesson, we then want to take it a step further. So we had an undesirable outcome, something really irritating that's happened again. We calculated, we went through the exercise, we found out how we derived the number, that how much it's costing, how much we are missing out on at its current rate. And we found that this is a big number. Now, of course, we're saying, well, that's a big number. We want to do something about it. We need to do something about it. We need to do it fast. So now, of course, we need to determine what is it that we're going to do, right? If it's about, well, we need to, get the repairman in. We're going to spend that $15,000 it is to repair the machine and get it up and running again. And then we're going to produce to full extent there, and we're going to make sure it's fully manned, and we'll have the materials coming in and so on, so we can up the production to 100% of what it should be, and so we can sell it straight away and turn money in, so we can pay for that $15,000 and all the other parts of the equation, and then now we can begin to make more money. So in other words, what we need to find out is, like, what exactly do we need to do? What is entailed? And also by when and by whom, right? And finally, by how much, right? So let's look at that again. What actions do we need to do? Maybe it is, okay, we have identified that we have in part of our production an area of the business where instead of turning out 4 widgets an hour, we actually could do 6 widgets an hour. If we just stuck to the breaks that we have already, or man the machines without wasting time, and change out, whatever needs to go into the machine and come out of the machine, then we can up the production by 2 more units. So in other words, we found out, okay, what is it we need to do? Okay. Then we also say, okay, well, by how much? Well, we had 2 more widgets in every hour. So how much is that, a day? How much is it per week and so? Then we question by whom. So who needs to take care of this? Well, it's Jim out there by this machine. He needs to do it. So we instruct him. We make sure we supervise and find out that he's doing it and so on. And then we say, well, this production. So we probably need the foreman of the production, who is the one who's going to come and report to us, because we have a lot of different guys running each their own machine or their own role in the business. But we only need one person to come and report to us and say, okay, here's where we are at. Here's all the things that we set out to do. And then we have, okay, by when. So if it's a small thing that's like, okay, we just need to instruct and get going, then it's straight away. So in other words, by next week, we want to have production up by 2 extra units per day, 5 business days. So, okay, 10 extra units for the week. And we take that measure, which now what we call a metric. So we have a specific metric that says that this amount of units is how many we produced before. We now set a new goal of, we have those 2 extra, and we know who is going to take care of it and handle it. And then we want to have that we actually come back and say, here's how many we did. So again, the 2 secrets that we're talking about in this episode, in our series of secrets of a top business turnaround agent, is that we want to establish what is it where we need to do. So what are the action steps? We want to make sure that we know who's responsible for doing this, for carrying it out. It's okay that we find out we want to do something, but somebody needs to follow through, right? Somebody needs to take it out and actually implement it and make it happen, and so that it's consistently being delivered upon. We wanted to know exactly by how much. So if it's a production increase, well, how much extra we're producing. If it's like more sales, well, okay, it's fine to establish better sales numbers, but who needs to do it? How much extra are we looking for? Is it, more contracts? Is it a bigger contract? Is it more leads turning into actually paying clients and more conversions? Is it more leads coming in? Whatever it is, we need to specify what it is, and we need to know exactly who's going to take care of it, and then we need to have a deadline. Without a deadline, soon enough, it's like, oh, well, I thought we were going to do that next week. Or, well, we'll get there. But it's not okay to be like, well, we'll get there. No, we need to set a deadline for it. We'll talk about, in a future episode, what happens when they come short. What happens if they don't meet it? Because invariably that will happen, especially when we implement something new. But we need to handle that in a manner, and I mentioned this in another episode beforehand. We mentioned about, we need to do it in such a manner that they commit to you, rather than you just dictating to them what they need to do. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I know if you're not using a system as this kind, then I highly recommend that you do it. Most of the businesses and companies that I work with, they either did not have any system whatsoever like this, or they had something that was maybe had parts of the elements, but didn't really have the follow through. This system here, by integrating it into the full system, what makes it a real system, is that it actually ensures that all the steps are being met, and invariably that you actually meet the results, and you do so in a timely manner. This is what makes the system so strong. I know it really works because I've seen it in person when I've helped over 100 companies all over the United States, all over Canada. Companies of all kinds of sizes and in all kinds of industries. Industries that I did not have particular knowledge of, maybe even no experience prior, but the method and the system still works. You just implement it into whatever it is you're producing or whatever it is you're servicing and delivering upon to your clients and so on. And it's a system that really ensures that everybody gets on the same page. And it's a system that really makes it easy for you as a business owner and operate the business in such a way that everybody knows exactly their role in making it happen, and everybody comes and reports onto a method that it's easy to see, well, are we on track with what we set out to be? We have this end goal we talked about that we want to hit, and we have mapped out, okay, well, with these changes, we're going to reach a little bit closer. And we have a lot of these changes, we know we're going to hit the goal, right? So this method helps you get there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this will be all for this episode. I thank you so much for being here. I hope that you'll use some of this methodology. Again, my courses, programs, and coaching has a lot more help in there for you to really hands-on seeing it. If you're listening to the podcast, and this is also why if you're looking at the video, that I will not be drawing out the whole thing here for you, because when you're just listening to it, the visual aspect doesn't really help you much, right? So in the courses and programs, you'll actually have access to, instructional videos that take you step by step by step. It makes it a lot more comprehensive, much more easily understood and much faster understood. So although you may find that this is now, 11 and 12 and 13 episode and so on, and we have only spoken about a few of these things, you'll find that in the program, you'll move much faster through the paces. And then, although you may have some questions coming up, you have the coaching that follows with it, that then now you can come and post your specific questions or maybe your particular challenge we can look at and use an example how we solve that problem. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that I will see you in future episodes. I hope that you will take this and previous episodes and map out this system for you. I'll have more information for you if you are so inclined. You can go to theautomatedmillionaire.com. That again is theautomatedmillionaire.com. You are more than welcome, and I invite you to connect with me. Please give me your feedback and so on. Give me suggestions how I can make this more valuable to you. And you can do so via the contact page on theautomatedmillionaire.com. I thank you so much for your time for today, and I see you in future.